guys? Welcome to another episode of Beers, Bourbon, Whiskey. Of course, it's your boy Q Lewis holding it down live from the 48205. Got my man Bo in the building.
I'll show you.
Hey, I wanted to, we jumping right off into the liquor because that's what we're doing these days, because the last couple of episodes we took too long to get to it. And today we get into Widow Jane, all right?
Oh, Jane.
So I'm completely not hip, all right? So Bo put me on to this. I had never even heard of it, let alone had it. So just a little background. Tell us like how you got hip to it.
How I got hip to it, it's actually a real simple story. It's not like interesting at all. I'm gonna keep it short.
Right.
I was just in this random liquor store and like this older white dude saw me. He was like, "Hey, you been in the bourbon for a long time?" I was like, "No, not really." He's like, "Oh, I recommend this, blah blah blah," and just, "Oh, okay, cool, or whatever." And so, I bought the shit. I was like, "Damn, the old white bastard was right."
Old white bastard. Shout out to the old white bastards in the world.
Yeah. So I guess like they secret to it though is so it's made in Red Hook, in Brooklyn and shit.
Okay.
But like they use like this natural mineral water that's like they call it sweet water. This shit's supposed to be so pristine and clear and pure and whatnot.
Okay.
So yeah.
Actually, that's kind of. I never knew that it was created in Brooklyn though. But I think the thing about the mineral water is something that's different because we never actually talk about like
the ingredients.
The ingredients here, like as far as that goes, like the water
and
part.
It's all non-GMO or something like that.
Word.
Ain't that what it is?
So it's low key healthy.
Yeah. So
low key healthy.
They use healthy ingredients. I mean, it's healthy, right?
Right. It's healthy liquor, dog.
Healthy liquor.
So we gonna get right to it. I'm excited because I've never actually had it before. So I'm gonna see what it's talking about and see if this mineral water is really what it's all cracked up to be. Shout out to Red Hook, Brooklyn in the building though. All right, so I got it started, so I don't look too retarded trying to take it up. All right, let's see. I don't know. Let's see what it smells like in the glass. Sometimes in the bottle, it's hard to tell. I don't know why that is. I guess because
you gotta breathe for a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta breathe.
Breathe
for sure.
Open it up.
Right. It smells familiar, honestly. So it's gotta be it's something fruity to me.
Something.
I'm not sure.
What you smell? You smell citrus. You smell apples. You smell cocoa. What do you smell?
I think it's citrus. Well, you know what? It's close to apple. What we had last week, which was completely off camera, which we might bring that back. It was a Whistle Pig. Mm-hmm. That was completely apple. Like I smelled the apple all through that. This is similar, but I don't think it's apple though. Maybe, possibly. It's kind of tropical though, so I'll say citrus. I want to see what it tastes like though. Not even gonna hold you up. It's hella sweet. I didn't think it was gonna be this sweet. But it's good though. Not too sweet. I say caramel. It's a toss-up for me between the citrus and the apple though. Like, cause it tastes kind of appley. So I think it's a toss-up between the two of those, but definitely caramel at the end, which is it's distinct this time because the last time we had a discrepancy between caramel and vanilla. Like I really thought it was vanilla. This is probably caramel though. What you think?
Yeah, it's a little more. So the palate, is a little more caramel. The nose, I think, is kind of a mix almost between a little bit of citrus. You get a little bit of that apple scent, I guess you could say.
Maybe that's why I can't decide between the two. Is maybe it's a mix. Yeah.
At the front though, I get like hints of like cocoa or chocolate almost, right?
Really?
Yeah, at the front. But as it settles, and I think that's kind of when it transitions to that caramel type taste you're talking about.
Cocoa. Possibly, I see what you're saying. Sometimes it's like you don't notice it until somebody else bring it out though. It's good though, and honestly, a lot sweeter than I thought it was gonna be. So you like this?
I love it.
This is surprising. This is very surprising because in most episodes, if you've been following us, you know that he don't really like the sweeter kind of stuff. He said I got a soft palate, But you like this though.
I love it because I like how it sits. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a little sweeter, but the shit sits real heavy. You know what I mean? It's a strong alcohol, right?
Right, for sure.
So I think it pairs well with a lot of different things. You know, whether that be cigars or
which we about to see right now.
Yeah, or you know, whatever you like to do with them, you know, while you're drinking.
Right.
And even if like you know how like these championship teams always, you know, they got a star. They got this guy. They got this guy.
Yeah.
Like this is like your utility guy to me. You know what I mean? Like can do a little bit of everything. It goes a little good with a little bit of everything.
It's Vinny Johnson.
Yeah. It's not necessarily not necessarily my favorite bourbon in the world.
Right.
But it's good enough to go with a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's Dennis.
So like
this is Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. So when I'm done with when I don't feel like having Buffalo Trace or something like that, this is usually my next go-to with OJ.
See.
And I think because the shit. It's pure to me, like that mineral water they be talking about. You know, I'm not saying I can taste the mineral water, but
you can tell the difference.
It's just pure. You know what I mean? Like some bourbon to me kind of goes down rough. You know what I mean? Like this is just, and I'm not saying it's just like smooth or anything like that. It just got that kind of pureness to it.
Okay, I can dig that. Speaking of pure. Let's get down to what we're talking about today. It really didn't have shit to do with pure. I just wanted to try to segue, and it didn't work. All right, but we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about everything that's going on right now. By the time you actually see this episode, it'll be Wednesday, so it'll be quite a few days into a lot of different protests going on around America right now, possibly worldwide. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping my eye about internationally, which is something.
There's a couple things going on. They had something in London.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
They had something in Germany, and then one other country. I forget where it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, I seen before we get into like everything about the whole situation, first of all, I just want to look at the transition that we're going through at this point from being attacked, I think it's safe to say, by COVID-19, and then like easing into like what can easily be looked at as some kind of I won't call it a race war, but like some type of racial unrest, I guess we'll call it. What do you think is about to happen at this point? Because all the fear was pushed towards COVID-19 at first, but now we transition into this. Like, are we gonna lose track of what's going on with the pandemic too and shit, or like I don't know? It's a tough one.
Quite possibly, right? Because so people are real methodical and like real deliberate about what they did.
Right.
You know, I'm saying. Like what they did during the pandemic, like it's over. I know it's not over.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, but people's focus has shifted, right? So the thing is now, everybody in their feelings, emotions and stuff, and I totally get that because I'm in mine and I'm feeling all these different emotions.
Exactly.
So you get to a point when you get angry or you get pissed enough, and you're like, fuck that COVID shit, and it's like,
right.
You know, at least I got a chance with COVID. I ain't got a chance with these goddamn police out here. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more of a chance that I'm gonna die at the hands of the police officer than it is COVID-19 for sure. And that's a scary place to live in. And I know somebody had mentioned this, basically in the joking manner on IG, just about how when our kids or our grandkids or whatever look at the history books, that chapter on 2020 gonna be thick as hell. Like it really is. There's a lot going on.
What was y'all doing in 2020, cuz?
Bruh, I'm still trying to figure out, bro. We ain't even 6 months in yet. Well, we'll be 6 months in tomorrow.
May 31st.
Yeah, May 31st. You know what I'm saying? We're 6 months in basically. And like I really don't. It's tough though. So again, I got to mention that last week we had a failed attempt at a show, but we were talking about at that point. We was talking about Ahmaud Arbery, and before we even had a chance to release that episode, the shit with George Floyd happened, and
the shit with the like dudes living, but like with fucking Central Park. Carrying that shit, you know, everybody forgot about him and shit.
Dog, real quick though, right? Yeah. Forgot about that real quick because all of that happened. It's just like at this point, it's overwhelming. So like when we look at the protests and we look at like the people kind of uprising, I'm not gonna say that. How can I say this? I'm not gonna say I condone it, but I'm also saying that I understand. I'm not gonna necessarily be the one out here looting Target and shit, but I also understand what the whole purpose of this is. And what's really maddening though is going through this situation of like everything that happened with George Floyd. If you're not hip to what's going on with George Floyd,
you better be by now. Like we ain't gonna catch. I'm not even
right. I am not even about to catch you up on that. If you're not, then you probably should just go ahead and cut the show off right now.
Straight up though.
Right? Like I'm not even bullshitting. But like with that going, and where was I going with that shit? With that going on and this shit just being like so overwhelming, I don't. Well, first, I'm not gonna go all the way into it, but I will say my reaction. All right, my reaction when I first seen the video. When I first seen the video of the incident, like it was emotions that I had never. I couldn't even explain to motherfuckers. Like I was mad, and then I cried and shit. Then I was sad. Then I was angry again, and now I'm just stuck in between. Like now I'm mad as fuck, but at the same time I want to empathize with with their family, because their family is the ones that's that's really dealing with this shit. And on this end, I think that where the frustration lies is that we don't know what to do next. I think that's where the real frustration is. Like, what do you do next? And that's a question that obviously a lot of people, or at least not one person, is able to answer. Oh, what? I know this is far-fetched, but like, what would you think though? Like, what would be cause I know you're a strategy guy, so you always like, we gotta strategize. Like, what should we be doing at this point?
First of all, like, yeah, when I saw that video, yeah, anger, sadness, all that shit, right?
All that shit.
And niggas is mad.
Right.
White folks are scared. And I'm glad a lot of them scared to tell the truth. Like, no, and I'm not even trying to be funny, because like, the motherfuckers starting to realize, like, some of them, damn, we really need like to address this shit, because these niggas is for real mad.
Right.
So what's next, right? I was in the military, and I'm sure a lot of y'all heard this in the movie or somewhere like that. We don't have to have 100% solution, right? I'm not gonna say the exact patent quote, but I'll take a 50% plan, execute it violently today rather than a 100% plan, next week or whatever, right? Because like shit doesn't need to just like fester and stuff like that, right? So yeah, a lot of cats want to ask, what's our plan? What's this? Motherfuckers is emotional right now. Like, these niggas is angry.
Let the emotions out. Right.
Like you said, you don't condone and all that. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be the one out there looting and all that type shit. I ain't trying to steal nothing or whatever, but like, I hope they burn this motherfucker down.
Right.
Yes.
Burn this motherfucker down.
There's gonna be some mom and pop shops that get affected by it, right?
Yeah.
I get that, and just like every other conflict, it's gonna be a casualty. Yeah. Right? You can't go through a war and not have any casualties. Like that shit's impossible. Right? It's fucked up, and I feel for those folks, and I'm sorry, but I still hope they burn this motherfucker down. Right?
No, I hear you.
Because look what they doing in white neighborhoods, and motherfucking National Guard walk through shooting motherfucking rubber bullets at white folks. Yeah. What you think they're gonna do when they come to our neighborhood?
Right. Yo, they shoot real bullets. Yeah, they shoot real bullets at our ass, more than likely and shit. And then they go blame it on
stop resisting. Stop resisting. So and that's the other shit. How do motherfuckers get arrested for resisting arrest? Like, what was you fucking with me at first
in the first place?
Right? You know what I mean?
Duh, simple and plain.
So, yeah.
Yeah, for real. I think the thing about it too though is that it should be, I don't know if I can say that, but I guess it should be a little easier. Should be a little easier this time, because we got a playbook. We kind of know what worked and what didn't work from the previous time. So I think with that being said, we do have to move a little more strategically, but at the same time, a lot of times the only thing that people understand is force sometimes. And like you said, some people may get caught in the crossfire, and that's kind of unfortunate. I think we're at a time now that what we really have to understand is that there will be bloodshed, there will be sacrifices, and like we will take some L's. I think you got to be comfortable with that in order to even make this movement, even work.
A lot of times it's gonna be your own folks too, right? Like, yeah. I think that's one of the things that kind of really frustrate me about the situation. Mm-hmm. Some of these docile ass Negroes out here, right? Mm. Oh, you should do it. Fuck you. Okay? Simple as that. Shut up, bitch. You know what I mean?
Like Ice Cube.
Yeah, like Ice Cube. I ain't even got time for that shit. Like I refuse to engage in that shit with like, especially with a white person. Like all that, no, go.
Right.
But when, even somebody that look like me, and like I'm refusing to engage in that shit, right? Because I'm not getting caught in that trap. Because I used to think like that a long time ago. Harmony and utopia, and there's no such thing as race. Right. And that's fucked up. That's fairy tale thinking.
That's just not real. No doubt. And like another thing that kind of add into like this whole situation, not with just with George Floyd and everybody else that lost their lives to police brutality, but just looking at the overall makeup of America. I think I mentioned this before, probably on my other show or excuse me, in some other kind of conversation. But it's just the I take it back to the Civil War again. I'm late to the game, shit, because they don't really educate us on the real Civil War and none of the facts. But I was looking at a documentary about General Grant and General Lee, obviously. But just looking at how even then, like during the Civil War, like the terms of surrender were so fucking harsh from the South. Like the South was like, you know, if we win, then y'all gotta surrender, and we want all our motherfucking slaves back. The slaves that escaped north, like y'all no longer are Union soldiers. Y'all are now slave catchers. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go get them slaves and bring them back to us. Like the demands was like so fucking like they was really rigid. But then on the reverse side of that, obviously the Union won, and their terms of surrender was like a slap on the wrist. Like these motherfuckers was like they got to keep all their guns, they got to keep all their animals and shit. Like they just basically just went back to normal, but like we go free the slaves. And when I say free, I use that term loosely.
But that was the Union's MO, right? Yeah. They didn't give a fuck about the slaves. All they cared about was the preservation of the Union. Right. So as long as they got that, they considered that mission complete. Mm-hmm. Right.
This is true, and just like I was telling my nephew on the way here, it was like even at one point where General Grant had this grand scheme where they was go blow up this little piece of land, like they was gonna create a crater, and they was gonna like basically surprise attack General Lee's army by going around and like, you know, catch him off guard. But the lieutenant or whoever he had running the mission, goofy ass, took the troop into the crater, right? So now you got everybody standing on top of them, like shooting fish in a barrel. The most retarded shit ever.
For y'all veterans out there, those goddamn LTs, man. Let me tell you what, and y'all know what I'm talking about.
See, he would know better than I know.
Lieutenants, boy.
But yeah, so his goofy ass took him down there, but. And that's not even the point I'm trying to make. The point is to get back to your point, is when they got in there and they started getting shot like motherfucking fish in a barrel, that some of the coward ass Union soldiers started then turning their guns on the black people that was fighting with them. And that's the shit that you were saying, basically, like they all at some point been a part of the same team, and the overall culture of the shit is them against us. And they realized that once they got in there and everybody started getting shot, they like, shit, fuck that, we go kill niggas too. Like, but 2 seconds ago we was fighting together.
See, and that's one of these things these docile ass Negroes got to understand, right? Is, you know, there's never been any us, we, anything like that, right?
Right.
All these, you know, we use them now because, you know, we're citizens and we're for some rights. But all these historical United States documents, you know, the Declaration of Independence and, you know, all that shit, bill, whatever, you know, that wasn't meant for us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so, like, when you enslave the people and bring them over here and consider them property, and all of a sudden now they're free, and now all these rights apply to them and shit, like. Most folks wasn't really cool with that.
Right. Exactly.
And that shit has been passed on for generations. There's still a lot of motherfuckers not cool with that.
Exactly.
Like, you know, there's white motherfuckers on this planet right now, in this country, that don't think we should be able to vote. That don't think this, that don't think that, right? Sure. And again, we can't sell ourselves this bullshit ass dream. Yeah. And we all gotta, you know, sing Kumbaya and blah, blah, blah.
That's for sure.
And that reminds me, like, of 2 points of discussion that comes up whenever this issue happens, right? So number one, the whole POC thing, people of color. I hate that fucking term. Fucking, I'm black. Refer to me as black, right? Okay.
Right.
And I hate that. Oh, I don't see color. I don't see, you know, the blood. We're just the human race. No, we're not. You're white. I'm black. We have different cultures. We see the world totally differently.
Right.
No, stop lumping me into that shit. So when those docile ass Negroes, when they finally realize that shit, when life slap them in the motherfucking face, hopefully they'll come around, right? My point is this. We look at white people right now. They may not be our only enemy.
Right.
It may be motherfuckers that look like you and me. They become enemies. You know, they call them collaborators, right? Sure. They enable the enemy to infiltrate and shit like that. And so that's why I'm very leery of docile ass Negroes, because of that type of shit.
Because that's them. I'm very leery. No, I understand that, man. That's what make it. I think that's what make it so much scarier, because like you can't really identify who's with you or who's against you. And at the end of the day, like I don't want to make it a blanket statement about all white people, but the way history has, you know, played out and the way things have been proven, I mean, my man Angry Man say this shit all the time. He's like, man, it's always some white person at the end of every conflict, or at the beginning rather, however you want to look at it. But it's always because of white people. I hate to say that shit, but I guess it's true though, right? And at this point, if we
go back in history,
right,
wherever y'all have gone, it's been some bullshit,
right? And just the fact that when you go through history and some of those conquests, or even I keep it here. I keep it on U.S. soil. Just about the Civil War. Is aspects of that are celebrated and some that are pushed down just because they really don't want you to know what the true reality of things was. Like I feel like as a black person, I think that should have easily been a part of not just history, but black history. I think we need to understand the role that we played in Civil War and the role that the Civil War actually played in the development of the, you know, United States of America. And the thing about that is that like it was just I can't really say that we won in that aspect. And I think the preconception is that because the Union won, that black people won for America. Like
that's what you've been sold.
Exactly,
you know, we
but
fought the Civil War because of slaves and all
right.
that stuff. And that's what they teach you in elementary. And that's what, you know, that shit that goes on year to year, generation to generation, right? You know, so that's what a lot of motherfuckers believe, you know, unfortunately.
And because of that, and I hate to take it back to this, but I always seem to do it. And since since I kind of messed up last week's episode, because we dabbled back into that, but with a system like that and the shit that's just so entrenched into the fabric of America, like how do you convince somebody that it's important to vote, bro? Like how do you?
I had a discussion with somebody this morning, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to bring up what it was or anything like that, but yeah, and but the thing is like this person countered me. They're like, well, you know, you have degrees, you're educated. Why don't you draft a plan, you know, to, you know, how culture should be changed, or, you know, the retraining should take place with police and things like that, right?
They hit you with you're educated.
Yeah. You know, and first of all, I was very surprised because, you know, who said this, right? Who this person was. And my thing is this, right? You created the problem, white folks. Mm-hmm. They got to. It's not on us to fix it.
Right.
So however we deal with it, we deal with it. Yeah. And even if you come with some reforms or things like that, the fundamental system, all the underlying beliefs are still there.
Yeah.
So how do you fix a system like that? You got to burn it to the motherfucking ground. You got to blow it up.
Start all over. Restart.
Right? Because if you don't, it's always going to be there, no matter what you do. I don't care how many hands you hold and rallies you go to, and how many posts you put on Facebook about whatever.
Obviously, how many Civil Wars you win.
How many hashtags you come up with. That shit is always there.
Right. And that's the thing that happened ever since, you know, obviously before, but ever since the Civil War. And I keep going back to that because like it's really a pivotal point for me, because I think it's that point of where we've been duped into thinking that we overcame, or that, you know, that we're winning in some juncture, and the reality of it is we not. So I just got to tell this real quick story, because after I watched all this shit about General Lee and General Grant, after I watched all this shit, I started, you know, thinking about how all of this shit transpired, and even though the Union won, we really still was, you know, in captivity. So instead of change, we was just bound by laws and shit like that, because that's the reason this whole shit was prepared. It wasn't for us, it was to keep us out. But anyway, so what I started thinking is just that even though the Union won, the spirit of the Confederacy lives on, right? So I was thinking that in my head. I'm like, damn, that's gonna be a dope little concept for a book, because I want to, you know, I kind of want to document what we're going through, just like I'm documenting the stuff with COVID-19. And so I Googled, and I'm just like, let me see if a book like this already exists. And it wasn't a book, it's a statue, right? So it's an actual statue called the Spirit of Confederacy down in Houston, I believe it is. And it's like a Confederate soldier with angel wings. And I was just thinking, like, this is the whole concept. Like, they really feel like they are like gods almost. And the fact that these statues still exist is fucking amazing. Where is it that the loser have statues and shit. Where is this at?
Yeah.
Like, is it
That's one of the first things that happened in Iraq.
Yeah.
Pull all that shit down.
pull all that shit down,
Blow
right?
all that shit up. Right?
What's the difference though?
It's no difference.
Why is it not like that here though? And why is it such a
They
thing?
other white folks.
Right.
Why you think they put so much money into Reconstruction after World War II?
Yeah.
White folks.
True that.
Like, why you think we fuck up all these other countries and shit like that, and then like, all right, y'all niggas on your own now, right? Why does France bully Haiti back until to this day, still paying them back for the revolution and shit?
Yeah.
You know, so these niggas have fought you to get you up that island, you know, for forever,
Right.
and you gone, and now you gonna charge these niggas for fighting you, for mistreating them and shit? Come on, dog. Really?
All bullshit, right? And real quick though, you mentioned Reconstruction. All right, so if you're not hip to what Reconstruction is, basically it's the period after the Civil War where basically we had to reconstruct, right? So reconstruction of the laws, reconstruction of the physical, aspects that were fucked up during the war. But the crazy thing about that is that you got all these Northerners, all the Union supporters, who were so excited when the Union won the Civil War. But then when they drafted the idea that black people black men anyway, would be able to vote, then they were kind of in an uproar too. But like, how is that possible when like 2 months ago you was excited that y'all won? So, it's all like a pump fake, dog. It's seriously like a pump fake.
It's the same thing that's going on right now, like with the whole election thing, right?
Yeah.
When we kind of need y'all, like, yeah, you can be on our team a little bit. We'll make y'all feel kind of special. Right. But then when we get to where we got to go, like, y'all niggas got to get out now. You know what I mean?
Use them for what we need them for, rather.
So the Democratic Party, and people always say, well, what's my other choice? Like, I don't talk about Republicans because there's no way I'm ever fucking with a Republican. Like, never, ever. That shit is never coming into my mind, right?
Never, ever.
Never, ever, right? So, like, the Democratic Party is pulling the same game. Like, every 4 years, like, they trick all y'all docile ass Negroes and shit, and then 4 years later, you mad and this and that. And
right.
Why do you think that shit happens? Why do you think it happens like that continuously?
Right.
Like, always.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the candidate, it's the system. You know what I mean? Like, the system has to be blown up, like the entire thing.
Or if they not go blow it up, then you got to go back to my original shit is that that we shouldn't vote and we should just all put our money together to be lobbyists and shit. I know it's hard to get a lot of black people together, so I know this is probably a far-fetched idea, but at the end of the day, it's the money and the lobbyists that make these politicians do what you need them to do, no matter who's in there.
Or a motherfucking bullet, right? One of the two. No, I mean, I'm serious, man.
Ballot on the bullet,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, 'cause what else is going to... Again, I'm going to use history, right? Because history tends to repeat itself, you know. Significant change has usually happened after significant violence.
Right.
There's not many periods, since the dawn of man, where we had this everlasting peace and all this change has happened or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Usually change happens after some significant violence, which is unfortunate, I get that. But like, that's the reality.
Yeah.
So you can go think about those roses and sunshine and rainbows if you want to and shit.
Roses, sunshine.
That's all ass nigga over there ain't feeling nobody but yourself.
My man Bo angry for real.
So yeah, obviously things are better in 2020, right? But just because things are better, don't necessarily mean they're good, or don't necessarily mean where it should be, or whatever. So that's where hope comes in. You know what I mean? Again, hope is not a strategy, but like, you got to have some hope to like, yeah, things are better. And then for some folks, things might be absolutely great. And then some folks, things are shitty, right? As long as we go, there's always going to be that. But as a black folk, as a whole, like, can't get content and complacent. Well, if this were 1965, nigga, it's not. You know what I mean? It's 2020.
Exactly.
So like, yeah, I got the right to demand certain shit, and like, that's why we seeing all this unrest and, riots and whatever, and I don't want to go too much into the riots because I know there's a lot of plants and a lot of white supremacists and cops and white folks that are in these riots that are just taking advantage of it, don't care anything about what's going on.
Exactly.
And people are quick to support police and say this isn't the way and we need nonviolence and all that type of shit. Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, just like I am too, right?
Right, for sure.
As far as advantages, the advantage we should have is like they've already showed us their hand. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, them niggas can't bluff us. They shouldn't be able to bluff us.
Right.
But docile ass Negroes is gonna fall for it again, right?
Right.
Oh, well, you gotta go vote and you gotta go do this and maybe we this and blah, blah, blah. If you like those crumbs, man, more power to you, okay? But, like, that's not okay with me, you know?
And like I mentioned this last week on the other show, and it's just to this point. When we did the show last week here, the one that we didn't get to film, but when we did the show here last week, I was talking about not voting. The Angry Principal was here, and he was, he broke down all these good reasons why I should vote.
And it makes sense.
It makes 100% sense, right? So he kind of talked me, like, I felt like he talked me into it. Like, you know what? Like, maybe he right. Let me not be the one to go out here and not vote. This was on Sunday, right? We was recording. And then this shit happened, right? With my mans and shit, right? So after that, I'm back. I'm back to where I was at originally. And this is my thing, dog. At this point, any politician, I mean, I'm gonna do what I need to do locally, because I think that local change is how you affect your day-to-day life. So, like, I'm with that. But for presidency, it's like this, dog. If there isn't a presidential candidate that doesn't have a serious, not no bullshit, but a serious plan for reparations, and a serious plan for not what's the other shit? Not criminal reform, but like law enforcement reform. Because criminal reform don't do shit for us if we never fucking making it to trial. Like, if we dying in custody, then criminal reform is never gonna help me. So I need this law enforcement reform.
That's easy.
And I need a real thing about fucking reparations. And without those two, like, I am not voting. Like, fuck it now. Like, at first he had convinced me to, like, maybe I let some shit slide and then, make the choice between the lesser two evils. But at this point, if those two things aren't met, I am not voting. And I'm sorry. I know it probably don't make sense to a lot of people. And yes, I know my ancestors died for that shit.
Don't be sorry. That's what you think.
Exactly. And the real thing about it, though, is that when you tell me our ancestors died fighting for that right and shit, I will guarantee you, I ain't for sure, but I will guarantee you, though, that if them motherfuckers knew exactly what we was getting into with a democracy, they would not have died for those rights. They'd have done something differently, like, for real. And I say I'm sorry because, like, I'm apologetic like that. It's not gonna change my mind, but I am sorry for shit. No, some people, this is their thing. Like, you don't vote, like, they just can't. They don't understand.
I'm not even gonna address that shit because that shit's stupid anyway, right? But I'm gonna say this. You talk about law enforcement reform. That shit is easy. I'm gonna vote in my local elections and things like that because I believe some candidates locally that was about the business, and some of them candidates are white. But those white candidates realize what's going on, and they for real passionate about making some change. Like, they got some good plans for that, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll support them. Whatever. President, I get it. All the arguments out there, the Supreme Court justices and all these executive orders.
That's how Angry Principal sold me.
I understand that shit. I totally get it, right? Got it. I guess, again, if you look at history, there's been times when we had Democratic presidents, and they've had chances to make Supreme Court appointments and things like that. And some of those decisions crippled us, and then some of them, they make this reform, they make judgments on things and all that stuff, and it never really trickles down to us,
Right.
So yeah, some of it affects us, some of it doesn't. Like, I get that argument and I understand it, and it's a damn good argument, right? But again, fundamentally, I just believe, if this country is really what you say it is and really what it should be,
right,
that I shouldn't have to pick between lesser two evils.
For sure.
Then my own people should not have to make me feel guilty
for not
wanting to do that shit, right?
No doubt.
When there's nothing tangible, there's no kind of plan for us.
Right.
So I mean, to me, that's just stupid. I'm gonna go vote for this old white dude that has no plan for us.
Right.
But I'm gonna vote for him just because I don't like the other guy.
Exactly.
What?
And that's people's thing. Like, they want to get Trump out so bad.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, I'm still back on that shit.
Because my bad. Because he says shit like, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, right? Like what old boy said way back in the day during the 60s. For real? All these thugs out here and shit?
Right.
But then again,
all these thugs are white people.
What was it, last year? Yeah, all the other thugs, you know, seem to be
right. So.
But was it last year or 2 years whenever Charlottesville happened? They were very fine folks.
Right.
Very fine people or whatever.
Very fine people on both sides.
On both sides.
Yeah,
Let me just throw that in there, on both sides.
Right.
Okay, yeah. But...
And how is he getting away with, again, I don't want to get all in this politics shit, but like, how is he getting away with not really addressing the situation? Like, Obama was never able to get away with not addressing shit. Even when they make him do shit that didn't even make sense in our eyes, and he still did it, trying to keep the peace. But like, Trump just he feel like he don't have to do none of that shit. Like, he haven't had a real conversation with the American citizens about what happened to George Floyd, but he want to go on Twitter talking about, you know, motherfuckers rioting and shit. Like that's the part that's important. Like, when did that become more important than the actual injustices, though?
I know, like 2 or 3 days after all this shit happened,
right.
He had a press conference and the whole shit was about China.
Right, exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, what about what's going on in your own backyard?
You know, and I know there's folks out there saying, see, that's why you should vote for Biden and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't doubt that Biden would be a better president than Trump. I don't doubt that at all. What I doubt is, like,
there's a nigga taking change at the gas station right now who's a better option than Trump.
Yeah, exactly, right? Old drunk ass uncle who I love dearly would be a better choice. Because at least I know he care about people and shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
For real. Anyway, my bad.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that. So like that, I mean, that argument is dangerous because it almost makes you settle. Yeah. And then when you settle, you don't like demand shit that you should be entitled to, that you should get anyway.
Exactly.
So that's why I don't like that argument, man.
All right, we demanding shit that's rightfully ours anyway. That's crazy though. When you just look at that whole concept.
I should be able to drive and not get my ass whooped or like die because of this dude. Just like he had his knee on his neck for 9 minutes and had his motherfucking, like, if you thought he was a threat, take your motherfucking hands out your pockets. What, you know? And then like this, then he only get charged with 3rd-degree murder and 2nd-degree manslaughter. And the other 3 motherfuckers haven't been arrested or charged with anything at all.
They haven't been arrested at all, and that's where I got a problem.
Even though there's 2 other motherfuckers on top of him, and one motherfucker is keeping everybody from doing anything or even trying to videotape it or whatever.
Exactly. Now, real quick, we're just gonna talk about this before we get back to the whiskey, and then eventually just go ahead and wrap up. But what do you feel about like us? I mean, obviously, I know for some point we were feeling like if we videotape something, then that'll give proof to what's going on and other people will see it. But are we at a point now where we need to just be like, scrap that whole idea and just like really start like literally fighting the system? Because to me, again, we talk about this situation with Floyd, and I'm just like, I understand people, you know, taking videos and like just trying to show people what's really going on. But at some point, somebody got to take the risk to jump in, because I feel like this could have maybe been like avoided, or it could have ended up being multiple people dead. But I think at some point, I feel like I'm gonna take that risk though. Like, I'm not gonna be the one filming this dude dying. Like, I can't watch that happen. You know what I'm saying? But then it's that fear that's instilled in you, knowing that the police can do whatever they want to you. I mean, that fear is always in the back of your head, at least for black people anyway. So I know that can kind of hold you stagnant. But like with this whole little concept of filming shit and letting other people see it, none of this shit has helped. So at what point do we be like, fuck the cameras and just start jumping in there? I feel like somebody should have jumped in and like tried to push dude off, or like make some kind of disturbance where they would at least take the attention off of him and bring it to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I got a couple views about that. So if you are able, yes.
Yeah, if you're able.
You know, so people talking shit about, you know, the woman, or I really should say girl, because I think she's a teenage girl.
Yeah.
No, I don't expect her. No. You full body grown ass man like me, or this dude over here, then yes, I expect you to do something about it. So if you are able and you can, yes.
Yeah, because it was clearly a grown man's voice talking.
And the other thing too, though, I think we got to be careful with this argument too, because without taping, without film, like, we have no chance at all. Because think of how many other times this has happened and there is no film on it. There is no video on it or whatever. Yeah. So like, yeah, I think it's still people
It's
should
a
still
double-edged.
continue to video that.
Yeah,
But like me, at some point, like yes, I'm
gotta intervene.
I'm gonna step in and do something, right?
Yeah,
If you are able to, yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
And again, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can go because then you got people that had dudes that got families and got this and got that, you know. And
You got a lot of shit
things
that's
they
at
got to think
stake.
about, you know. And I don't want to dismiss that because that's important
Exactly.
to folks, right? You know,
'Cause you wanna make
the
it
bigger
home.
picture is like, yeah, everybody should do it. I get that bigger picture view, but at the same time, I get this dude who was like whoever, not just that particular
Not just
dude,
that dude, yeah.
but like random dude that might see this, like, I got a family, I got this, I got that going on, blah blah. Like I understand that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's that slippery slope.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's definitely a tough one, though. I do agree with that.
Me personally, yes, I'm gonna do some shit if I see some shit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it is a slippery slope because you don't want to make it seem like there's an obligation, and then if that person doesn't jump in, that you feel some kind of way. But I certainly know. I think I can say this for a fact, and it's probably unfortunate, but if it's somebody that I'm with or somebody that I know for sure, I think I'm definitely less hesitant. Like by me not knowing the person, maybe I start going through thinking about what could happen or what the fallout is behind it. But I think if it's somebody that I'm with or somebody that I know for real and shit, I think that a lot of times I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. Like I'm not even gonna think about those pitfalls until they happen, because at this point it's somebody that I identify with personally. So like I think off a reflex, I'm gonna go jump in, and we probably on some goofy shit both go down and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta start thinking about all of that shit is in the equal balance. But then at the end of the day, those sacrifices unfortunately are necessary sometimes. Like I ain't trying to be no martyr and no shit, but I also ain't trying to stand by and just let a motherfucker get killed.
You know,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I haven't been to Minneapolis.
not killed, but killed.
I haven't. Well, I've been to Minneapolis. I haven't been for all the protests and whatnot, right? But I've been downtown Detroit. I've been out here, you know, all that good stuff. I've been to some of these protests, and I will say the ones that I've been to, like, yeah, there's people angry at the police and things like that. But there's nowhere near where like a lot of this. Well, there's reporting on TV, you know, all this violence and looting and stuff that's going on.
They try to make it look worse.
Yeah, a lot of the looting. I was downtown last night. And I probably left around about 10:30, 10:45.
Okay.
And like, yeah, there's a lot of folks down there. Out of all the people I saw and all the protesting I saw and whatnot, there's maybe 2 or 3, at the most 4 dudes doing something they shouldn't have been doing, right? And I'm gonna keep it really real. And I did see some white folks like acting up down there, right? So I want to try to dispel that whole myth that it's only black folks and you tearing up your own name and you doing this. So there's a lot of folks coming in from places that ain't even near where this is going on,
right,
tearing
exactly.
shit up, right? So,
I mean, now that's a whole nother situation. So let's talk about that real quick, and then we gonna wrap it up. But about quote unquote allies. This is a tough situation because I understand, just like everybody else understand, that majority of people in this country is populated by whites, right? So you do recognize that at some point, I'm not gonna say those allies are necessary, but I think in a numbers game, obviously it's nice to have allies that don't look like you. But I think where it gets a little confusing is these situations where we're protesting something, not only what happened with Floyd, but we also talking about just the overall just racism that's entrenched in America. Like this whole thing is boiling over. So you can't look at it as a 1, 2, 3 or 20 cases like we got already, but just as an overall. But with that being said, you got white people who seem like they are allies, but then through history, like you said, there's been some situations where they were implanted and like starting a situation that didn't even have to be a situation. So for instance, if we out protesting and a gang of white people start busting out windows and shit, then you start talking about the riot, and then the first person you look at is the black person, and we weren't even the ones who started like the chaos.
Right.
Like we was actually out there protesting, and then they get to go home to wherever they go to and shit, and then they tell you that they're your allies, but really they just started some trouble that we didn't even need. So with that being said, and with those ideas in place, like how much, if at all, should we really depend on like quote unquote white allies?
I don't think you should depend on them at all, right?
Yeah.
You try to take care of yourself and your own folks. Now, like, If white folks want to step up and say something, do something, like, okay, that's cool of their own volition. Like, fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna like, you know, take anything away from them doing that, but I'm also not gonna be like, oh man, that's great. You're such a good white person, and blah blah blah. You know, like some of them want to hear that shit, right?
You're such a good white
I'm not gonna tell you you're good for doing some shit. You should do it anyway,
right?
Like, no, so like you don't get extra credit. You know, this is the straight grading scale here, right? No extra credit.
Ain't no extra credit. Ain't no curve.
No, nothing like that. So yeah, to do something that makes you a good human being, like, oh, you're not gonna get any validation from me, like,
right? You're gonna
you know what I mean? No, it is what it is.
It's what it is.
Yeah, if you want to be an ally, you be an ally. If you don't, then we're probably gonna be fucking with each other at some point. You know?
Sure. I feel you, man. Real quick though, before we end out the show, man, because I know this could go on forever, because this is a situation that has gone on forever. I did want to at least do this though. There are a handful, probably I could count on one hand, probably legit solid white folks that I really fuck with. And salute to y'all for reaching out and for connecting.
Shout out TK.
Yeah, shout out to my guy TK for sure. That's my brother. And shout out for the genuine respect and the genuine concern. I know a lot of white people probably reach out to us and things of that nature because they're afraid, not because it's genuine, but they're afraid to know where they fall in those categories. Like they want to. I guess I can't fault them for that. Like they want to know where they fall in your category.
And
so
I want to make this abundantly clear. I want to make this abundantly clear.
Oh shit!
Indifference and silence means you're my enemy, right? If you're not with me, you against me. Simple as that. So if you have no opinion on the matter or anything like that, I don't fuck with you at all either.
Right. How could you not have an opinion on this though? It's some people though.
People do have an opinion on it. Yeah. They're just too scared. They're too much of a fucking coward to admit it what it is, right?
I mean,
so to seem like I'm not a racist, I'm gonna say I don't really have an opinion. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Nah, that's not cool either.
Right. He'd rather just hit it real and shit up.
Yeah, I'd rather you just be a racist MF than like, oh, I don't have a. You know what I mean?
Right. Rather just instead of me trying to hide it and shit, man. All right, so we'll go ahead and round it out, man. We'll get back to the whiskey. Now about the Widow Jane, it is decent to me though. I'm not gonna hold you up. For once, I don't like the sweetness. Like it don't work for me. It's good though. I think it's surprising. I think I didn't think it was gonna be this sweet. I will say this though, in combination with the cigar though, I think the cigar balances it out a little bit. It doesn't. Now, first of all, let me say this: it doesn't finish like completely sweet. I think the sweetest point is when you first drink it. I think that's the sweetest point, and then it kind of mellows out after that. So don't get me wrong; it's not like Crown Royal apple and those shit like that kind of sweet.
That shit.
Yeah, it's not like that sweet. So don't get me wrong when I say it's sweet. It's like is a citrus kind of slash apple, a fruity sweet. So it's not like a candy apple sweet. But I think it did catch me off guard. And again, I think everything that I drink from this point forward, I keep either equating to Uncle Lear's or Bro Brothers. So I think it's probably an unfair advantage for everybody coming from this point because I'm just gonna keep on making those references back to that. But if you're talking about everyday sippers, I know you said you like this as like some regular, on a regular type. I think for me, as it goes right now, this will probably be under obviously Uncle Nearest and Bro Brothers, and probably since we didn't actually go over it yet, but the Whistle Pig, I think this will be right up under there. Whistle Pig was kind of sweet too, though.
See, I like Whistle Pig. I didn't like that Whistle Pig. Okay. Because it had Scotch hints. Like I don't want any. If I'm drinking whiskey, if I'm just drinking regular whiskey, not Scotch, not bourbon, I don't want it to taste like something else.
Like Scotch, yeah.
If I want it to taste like Scotch, I'm gonna drink Scotch.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm just like, hey, don't get me wrong, like it's okay. Yeah. But like,
yeah.
If I'm gonna drink bourbon, I want it to taste like bourbon. I'm gonna drink, regular whiskey, I want it to taste like that. I'm gonna drink Scotch, I want it to taste like that.
I figured, dude. All right, so look, this is how we gonna do it from now on. So we gonna move to a small little rating system. All right. So we gonna do the Black Power symbol, dog. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 5, you know what I'm saying? How many raised black fists would you give this?
I'll give it a solid 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I thought it'd be higher and shit.
No,
I really thought it'd be higher.
so I don't put this in the same category like everyday sip. I'm putting in the same category like the Buffalo Trace or something like that. Like I enjoy it from time to time. You know, I really enjoy it, but like it's never anything that I'm like, damn, I gotta get me a bottle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Kind of like how I've been lately with the Traverse City. I've had about 9 bottles of that shit. All right, so that tip, I think I would give it. You got something back there?
But I do got this Black Maple Hill, y'all.
Okay, Black Maple Hill. Hey, look, that's private stock, so you won't be seeing that on the show.
No, that won't be getting reviewed.
he might tell you about it.
Yeah, I might say something about it, but
right. I'm gonna give it 2 solid fist pumps. You know what I'm saying? 2 solid joints. Like I say, it's not the worst thing I ever had. Obviously, it's definitely better, and I have to be honest with you, it's definitely better than that damn Crown Royal XR. I'm so pissed at that XR.
Extra rare.
Yeah, it's just extra rare bullshit. Could have saved my money on that shit, man. But I think it's definitely better than that. If you into a sweeter taste that doesn't end completely sweet, then definitely is a good move. And the fact that it's actually got somewhat healthy ingredients, that's kind of dope too. With the mineral water,
non-GMO
kind of stuff. Yeah, see, so it's healthy to a certain degree. So yeah, you can definitely go with Widow Jane. So we're looking at what, 2.5 to 3. I'm saying 2 even. So not on the lowest end, but obviously not on some of the higher tier stuff that we had. Today, definitely a great conversation. Again, if you're not well versed on what's going on right now, obviously by the time you see this video, hopefully you are. And if you do have any comments about anything we talked about, including the whiskey, obviously, because it's a whiskey show, or anything that we've talked about in today's show, make sure that you do drop those comments below. Also, too, if you haven't seen any whiskey or bourbon or scotch that we've done on the show that you would like to see on the show, hit us up in the comments as well, and we may get that in a future episode. On the way out though, any last sentiments you would like to leave with us?
It's okay to be angry. You know, be angry. Do what you need to do. Do what you feel comfortable with doing. Just hold people accountable, man.
Yeah.
You know, when you see bullshit, call it out.
For sure.
You know?
Black or white.
Black or white.
No doubt. I agree with that 100%. Any emotions you going through right now?
Yeah, I'm still angry. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just trying to be smart about my anger. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not trying to get caught up in the BS. You know, but
no doubt.
Don't get me wrong. Like, if things were to take a turn for the worse, like there's not going to be National Guard coming through here and shooting rubber bullets at my house and stuff like in that one little video clip, right? I mean, that's just not okay. Those people weren't doing anything at all.
Right.
Like nothing.
Right.
So like if something like that was to happen, then like yes, I'm with the shits.
With the shits.
Okay. And I would take the consequences. You know, whether that be prison, death, or whatever. You know.
Right.
And like you were talking about yesterday, I've been in a couple situations where people always think, what would I do in that situation?
Yeah.
Well, I've been in a couple situations where I know what I would do, right?
Yeah.
So I say that confidently.
Right.
Like I'm with the shits if that shit happens.
With the shits if it go down.
Yeah.
For sure, man. I just want to piggyback on that by saying like whatever emotions you may be dealing with at this point. I think they saying this in like a social media campaign, but I think it's really true. Is like to really let motherfuckers know that you ain't alright. Like you not okay. Like this shit ain't cool. There ain't no way you can look at it and say like, well, like I'm alright with the situation that's going on. Like we are not. Like we are affected by this shit. Like we've been affected by it. But like we at a boiling point now where it's just you can't sit back and act like you not fazed by this shit at all. Like even if it hasn't touched your life personally, like or close in proximity, like it's affecting your life overall. Especially people who got kids. Like this is a pivotal point. This is detrimental for y'all and for people like us who haven't had kids yet but looking to put some kids out here and shit. This is a pivotal point. This is detrimental that we kind of take a rein on what's going on and like really try to, for lack of better words, get in control of some shit because we haven't been able to get in control of our own lives like our whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, like it's just got to happen. And if that means by force, if that means by burning shit down, or if that means by kind of being in conflict with one another about how this voting shit really works. Because I'm not gonna agree to that shit. Like I'm still not. I'm back on that same shit. If those two things aren't met, a real conversation about reparations and a real law enforcement reform, then you're not getting my vote. So I'm either not voting or I'm voting for somebody who has those platforms. Otherwise, I'm saving my energy for the local ranks to change my everyday life type shit. But I did want to end on this, dog. Like for black people, like how my man Bo say, the docile Negroes.
Docile ass Negroes.
Docile ass Negroes, right. The thing is, man, you always got to keep in mind, dog, that everything honestly does revolve around us. And I'm not trying to say that like in a narcissistic way, but it's just the reality. Because like they love our black votes, they love our black culture, but they don't love our black lives, nigga. So I ain't with the shit, nigga.
I gotta bring this up quick.
What's up?
Don't come at me with that all lives matter shit. Do not. You want to get cussed out real quick and get a talk quick lesson? That's fine. But if you don't want to get cussed out and hear some truth, don't come at me with that all lives matter shit. For real. I ain't even playing on that.
On that note, I guess we gonna get up out of here.
Docile ass Negroes.
Yo, so check it out, man. Widow Jane, man. Make sure you check it out. 2.5 to 3 fists for Bo. 2 for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Till next week, though, we gonna get on to another bourbon or another whiskey. We might mess around with the Joe Louis. I'm not sure. We might go a different angle. I'm not sure yet, but all you gotta do is stay tuned. Make sure if you're watching us right now that you do hit that bell button and subscribe so that you get a alert every time we go live. But shit, till the next time. You already know what it is, man. Beers, bourbon, whiskey. Everybody loves BBW, man. Till the next time, my man Bo in the building.
I say.
And of course, man, it's your boy Q holding it down live from the 48205, trying to strike this damn match and it ain't working yet. Check us out next time, man. Widow Jane definitely in the building, man. You got nothing in there? Peace out, y'all.